My dealer asked me to test these mowers and give true thoughts, and I don't know if he's going to be happy with the results of what I said. All right, so we're going to start this review out by just kind of, let me clarify this review. First off, we are first time zero turn owners. This is my first zero turn ever. Up until this point, I've always mowed with a tractor style mower or a subcompact tractor with a mower deck under it. So this has been life altering for us. And the reality is what used to take me 3 hours to mow, I can mow now in about 1 hour. So that's 2 hours saved time. And that is great. Now, I also want to qualify this video is that this mower particular right here, this is the Ferris ISX. This is probably in the entry level commercial mower. It's got a huge deck, it's heavy built, it's got suspension, it's a great light. Like in our case, we have 2.5 acres yard, so it's a big yard. It's for those kind of people, and say your firefighters or say your police officers that are making a little money extra in the summer and they're doing part-time mowing. This is a great mower for that. The next two mowers that we're going to bring out, they are going to be the Exmark and the big Ferris 3300. And those mowers are full-on commercial mowers. Now this review is not going to really help you out as far as if you're buying on one of those box store zero turns. They're just not in the same class, and they just can't do what these kind of mowers can do. Let's get them out here and show you. All right, these are the two Ferris contenders, the IS700Z in the middle, that is our mower. And then the one next to it is the ISX 3300. I thought our mower was big until I put that one beside it. What a monster. The last one we brought in is the Exmark Lazer Z. Let me tell you a little bit about each one of these mowers. Okay, let's get the elephant out of the room. Let's talk about pricing. What we're gonna do in our video here is we're gonna talk about generalized pricing. We're not gonna do specific pricing because specific facts, the fact is depending on where you're at, when you watch this video, will determine there's so many factors that determine what the price of the mower is, what dealership you have, what volume they have. So there's a lot of price variation. So for this video, we're gonna do general pricing only. All right, looking at these three mowers, let's leave a comment in the comment section below. Which mower do you think will be the most expensive mower? The Lazer Z X Series, the Ferris IS700Z, or the ISX 3300? Just to give you an idea, the Exmark has 25.5 horsepower. The Ferris has 27 horsepower, and the big Ferris has 36 horsepower. So leave a comment in the comment section real quick and tell me where you think the price point's going to be, is which mower costs the more. The answer to the question is the Exmark. In this particular setup right here, this is the Exmark Lazer Z. It's the X Series. This is a full-on commercial mower. Don't let the size fact that my mower and this mower are the same size. This is a full-on commercial mower. And if you really get into the details, this is a wonderful mower, which is still a commercial mower, but there's a reason that this has a renowned name for itself. I've looked over some of the build quality. This is an outstanding mower, so I'm never going to disrespect this mower. It's a good mower. And we get here, this is my IS700, which is, you know, it's 10 times better than any zero turn you're going to find at a box store. This is the less expensive one out of the whole group. And then we get here, which is the ISX 3300 by Ferris. This is one of their biggest mowers, or the big old biggins. Anyway, it's got 36 horsepower, and this thing is unreal. Today we're going to tear them out and run them through their paces, and I'm going to give you my perspective from a guy that just swapped over from tractors to zero turn. I literally have 3 hours of use on this mower right here. This is the only zero turn that I've ever mowed with. So we're going to go ahead and get the other big elephant out of the room that everybody that's watching this right now and has probably already noticed the difference. There's no suspension. This has no suspension on it. This is all solid caster. There's no give. There's no car-like ride. However, Exmark is famous for their seats. So this has a really nice seat. Now we'll walk over to my mower and you'll notice that it has suspension on the front and on the rear. Why this was so important to me, and probably why it will be important to most commercial mower guys or people like us who have big yards. Somebody got stuck in their front yard with a diesel truck and a gooseneck. I'm not saying I know who that would be, but they do live at this residence. I'll say that. And my front yard is less than smooth. We'll just call it that. So when I was looking for a mower, ride quality was a big deal. This mower has not a independent suspension, but it does have suspension. The front pivots left to right, and it has shock absorbers. The back has a pivot that pivots up, and it cuts so smooth. So I really don't understand the voodoo that Ferris is using on their mower deck, how they keep it running so smooth, but they do. Now, Exmark is known for its just outstanding mower and cut quality. And again, then we get over here to this thing, and this has independent suspension on the front end like a car, and then on the rear it has the suspension of a floating rear axle on the back. And again, its claim to fame is that it will mow super smooth, even the fact that the chassis is moving. Again, I don't understand the voodoo, but I know on my mower the mowing quality was outstanding. So I think at this point we'll talk a little bit about the specs of the mowers, and then we'll move right on into the next portion of the video. Is we're gonna talk, we're just gonna mow. So this is our, like I said, this is a entry-level commercial machine. It's still commercial. It's super well built. It's going to be a lifetime purchase, especially if you're like us and we are just buying it to mow our yard. We have big yards here and at another location. So if you're just doing it for that, this is a lifetime purchase, no doubt. So there's things that this mower has that are better, is that the suspension makes it ride well. This mower will literally run 10 miles an hour across really rough ground, and it's actually tolerable. I couldn't even begin to think about doing 10 miles an hour with my tractor. First off, it wouldn't do 10 miles an hour. And second off, if I had, it would have kicked me off. It would have bucked me off. Now, this has a very nice seat. It is, it does have an adjustment for softer and firmer rides. And you can upgrade to that seat on the big tractor if you want to. That seat has a dial where you dial in your weight, and it's pretty awesome. Obviously, this is not the premium seat, but you can get the premium seat on this if you want it. Who knows? Maybe we might order one. My wife's back behind the counter like, yeah, we like it. Yeah, that is pretty sweet seat. I will say that the Ferris seat even looks better than this seat on the Exmark. Now, this is the thing to claim for the Exmark, is the seat ride. Again, it has the dial where you dial how much you weigh, and it takes care of everything. That's all you have to do. You go to the Ferris, same thing. It has the dial indicator. It looks like the exact same dial indicator, probably the same seat manufacturer that makes this seat as the Ferris seat. And the quality of this seat is outstanding. There's no doubt about that. They're adjustable front and rear, and then they're adjustable in the firmness that you ride. So some nice features here is like you can bump this mower deck up and down, and this is a big nice 60-inch deck. All of these mowers have 60-inch decks, but the way they use the leverage, this is very easy to push up and down. So you can, if you're coming across a sidewalk and you just need to bump it up a little bit, you can do that. So all these mowers are really easy to set how many inches cut you have. Right now this one was in 1 inch cut. Obviously we're not gonna cut 1 inch. We're gonna cut 3.5 inches. That's what I cut my yard at. So all you have to do, put the pin in, rotate it around, and the next time you let the mower deck down, it's cutting at 3.5 inches. They're all these different models. When you get into the professional mowers like this, they're pretty similar. So the Ferris is really similar in how it works, and the leverage, this is my mower. And again, the way they have the lever set up, it's really close. It's really a light push. You don't have to push a lot. This is a nice heavy 60-inch deck. This is a commercial deck. And again, to set the mower deck, all you have to do is put it up into its lock position. I cut mine at 3 inches, so you got 1.5 inches all the way down to, you can go all the way down to 3/4 inch if you want to. I don't think it'd do it, but so this is where you put your pin when you're not using it. And then we want to cut 3, so here's 3, here's 1/4, here's 1/2. So we're going to cut ours at 3.5. Just drop the pin in, that's it. Now when you're going to drop the deck to actually use it, you just push it forward, move the safety out of the way, and now you still can go up and over, if you're going to like a sidewalk or a piece of asphalt or something, you still can do it. But if you push it all the way, it will lock into place in the safe mode. Now that's one thing that the Exmark does a little different. You manually have to put the lock on, and I can see that being good in some ways and bad in others. So I think there's, in this case right here, if I hit a bump, I might accidentally lock my deck up, and that's easy to fix as well by just pushing it down out of the way. I'm not gonna lie to myself, I'm gonna turn the knob up to where I really am. Okay, can't lie to yourself. If it says 240, you better put it on 240. So now we're on the big ISX 3300, and right off the bat, I will tell you that the seat this is a premium seat. It's every bit as quality and comfortable, maybe a little more comfortable than the Exmark. Yeah, this one's pretty neat rig right here. The setup of mowing the yard is exactly the same as the IS700. So you push lock the mower deck back, you pull it out. We want to go 3.5 inches. So there's 3, 3.25, 3.5. Drop the pin in the hole, and that's all there is to setting it. And how it works is identical. You still can float, and again, it's very, very light on the foot. And I've got my seat to the back, so I can't remember how to do oh, there he goes. I got too many mowers here, and I don't know how all the buttons work. I was pushing the seat thing the wrong way. So yeah, I was a little too far to the back. I am a little bit vertically challenged. Maybe a little too far forward now. Yeah, so we get it set up. So one thing I noticed on this mower is very pronounced is how wide, how much foot space you have. It's kind of freeing. The IS700Z, it's got a really nice space, but it's nowhere near as wide. It feels like this mower was built around comfort when you sit in it, just like the Exmark. The Exmark has a big area to sit in, so I noticed that. All right, some other things that can be done, and we're probably not going to do too much of it on this video, but everything can be set. Right here, these are a little bit too close for me. I don't like them this close, but they can be adjusted. They can be adjusted in and out. So if you want them right here, you can have them there, or if you want them to be a little bit further forward, if you want them to rest there and you have to push further forward, you can adjust these, and each one of these mowers are totally customizable for how you like to hold your handles. So if you're doing this every day, if you're like us and you're going to do one mowing a day, once a week, then it's probably not going to bother you. But if you're doing it for a living, you want it to fit you. Another nice feature. Now, the Exmark is wide, but it's not as deep as the Ferris 3300. That 3300, it just feels so big when you sit in it. It's just comfortable. But all of them have these nice features, like you can work on your mower deck, clean your deck, mow, clean your belts, change your belts, work on them. The Exmark does not have serviceable bearings on the mower deck, and sometimes that worries people. Reality is sealed bearings nowadays have become so far, it's just not really that big an issue. But there are still people that like to service their mower deck themselves, and the Ferris still uses greasable mower spindles, and they are nice and heavy. And again, they have the same kind of features that it's really easy to work on. Same thing. You can tell that the pulleys in this one are heavy, heavy, heavy. Yeah, notice the spindle on this right here versus the 3300. That 3300, the spindle is just absolutely bigger. Well, this is a proven system, so. So let's talk about the engines. Now it uses the Kawasaki FX801V. This engine has a commercial air filter on it, a large, like a standard type commercial air filter. And no one can say anything bad about this engine. It's just rock solid. Kawasaki has made a great name for themselves in the lawnmower world. So it's only 25.5 horsepower, but this mower still claims it can do 10-mile-an-hour mowing, which will keep up with this mower, which has the Briggs & Stratton CXI 2700. So this is a 27 horsepower engine, and it has a air filter. It's a big, nice air filter, but it's not that giant commercial air filter that's kind of standard as a commercial air filter would be. This is just built for the engine, and you just pop these two screws off when you want to clean the air filter. Still a nice big air filter. It's going to do a great job, but it's not the big canister filters like you see on industrial equipment. You come over to the Ferris, and the big Ferris, this is a 3300. It's got this ginormous 36 horsepower Vanguard engine. It does have the big Donaldson air filter system on it. This uses a full canister type filter like you would find on a tractor or industrial equipment, and that's a big deal. And this Vanguard engine again has made its name as being a really awesome engine. The CXI has made a good name too, but this is top notch. Both of these are top notch. The craziness is this mower is rated to do 12 miles an hour mowing. I can't fathom mowing 12 miles an hour. It scared the crap out of me mowing 10 miles an hour with mine. But we're going to give them all a run for the money. About half throttle. I don't know if that really matters or not, but I engage my clutch at half throttle. I've got a little concrete here. Controls are precise. Don't have any problem with that. Okay, so I felt pretty good about that. Obviously, coming up the fence, I'm not a pro at this, so I was a little slower than probably a professional would be. However, we'll go over here and jump in and look and see how this mower did. This was wide open, 27 horsepower, 10 miles an hour, full throttle, full stick all the way back and forth. I think it did pretty good for this mower. I don't know how you could ask any more. But after we look at this mower, we'll next thing move over to the Exmark. All right, same thing we're going to do. We're going to throttle it up about halfway. I'm going to drop the mower deck down to my cutting height. Pull the clutch engaged. Throttle up. Steering's touchy, but I'll get used to it. All the way. Whoa! Now this is really thick right here. I could tell the extra 2 horsepower, there was a big difference having 27 horsepower on mine versus the 25.5 on this. It's also not broke in at all, so they might get a little bit better. But what we'll do is we'll go up and come back on that one over there, that side over there, so that it's a little less dense and maybe a fair competition. That suspension's a big deal. My Ferris doesn't bounce like that. But I guess if you knew it didn't, the seat is awesome. It's got a great seat. I caught air on the driveway over there. It won't do wide open stick in this much grass. You would have to be mowing, grass that's kept up. I let this grow up pretty bad to be a good test. That two more horsepower or horsepower and a half, that makes a difference in my Ferris versus this. There's a lot to like about this mower. Like I said, the seat is awesome. The fact that I didn't take into account that this is a solid suspension, I ramped myself up over there on the driveway. If I was using this mower every day, I'd slow down. But on my Ferris, I was just able to go across stuff like that without even thinking about it. And you can see, honestly, I don't think you can really see the difference in the cuts. Both of them cut basically the same. I could tell that when I was going through the really high stuff that my Ferris was holding up to that deeper stuff. It didn't bog down any. I could feel myself slowing down a little bit with this one. And again, this is pretty thick stuff right there. Now let's get out that big boy and see what he does. Definitely, if this was mine, I would adjust the handles. I would turn them up just a little bit further, where they're about right here, because I'm kind of long armed. So one thing I did notice is this Ferris 3300 has dual tanks. It has a tank on either side. So probably this big 36 horsepower engine means business when you're running fuel. It's gonna run fast. This thing should mow at 12 miles an hour, and I believe it will. I believe it will do it. So I messed up on the last one, on the Exmark, because I didn't put my seatbelt on, and then had a incident where it threw me up in the air because it doesn't have a suspension seat. Just coming across here, I could already tell a big difference in this mower versus the Exmark, and the fact that the suspension is the dual front suspension or the independent suspension. It's going to be a nice feature. So again, half throttle. Lugged through it pretty well. All right, 12 miles an hour. It mowed it, but 12 miles an hour, that's too much. Right across here, wide open. This is more normal grass. Lord have mercy. That is crazy. Suspensions are unreal. When I go over the septic, it's noticeable on this mower as well. A lot of water. That was a pretty good drop off right here. Getting the feel for it. I'm gonna do a little hill test. Well, the big wheels make a big difference going in. Yeah, I didn't feel unsafe at all in that. I did lift my deck so we didn't bang on it. Suspension is a big deal. Yeah, I can't brag about the suspension enough. It's even better than what I have. The independent is noticeable. Let's jump back on the Ferris IS 700. I will say right off the bat, the seat is noticeably different. And this suspension on this is noticeably better as far as how it rides, how it handles. I was pretty impressed with the mowing overall too, but we just caught the edge of the really deep stuff, so we'll give it another shot to be fair. Now both of those mowers have bigger tires, and I can tell you that when you're going up and down hills, that makes a difference. This is bigger than most of your box store mowers, but still. All right, let's give it a watt 4. Half throttle. Full throttle. All right, here we go. Oh yeah, you can hear it. A lot of water in this. Yeah, for mowing, especially for heavy residential or light commercial, this is definitely a viable candidate for sure. All right, let's give the Exmark another run. There's a lot of things I like about this Exmark, but I just don't think the suspension, I'll just say this, I won't make the mistake of not putting my seatbelt on this time. The suspension is a big deal, especially the way I'm acting right now. The Exmark transmission seems a little more whiny, but it's just part of it. It's just different way they're made. All right, we're gonna do a hill test. So each time that I went up the hill with the Exmark, I know it was a much more noticeable of the front wheels wanting to come off the ground. They wanted to lunge up. And I think that's got a lot to do with the suspension. Instead of all that torque being applied going up the hill, it's being better, making better traction You're not just forcing the front end up. This one is very solid in the way that it feels riding. All right, I'm gonna cut off through here. Hey, I'm gonna cut off through there and back, long run, just see what it feels like. As a new person, this may last forever and ever. It is commercial motor. It's very heavy built. You can see everywhere it's built heavy, but the ride is horrible compared to the Ferris. And just because I own a Ferris, I can't really be biased yet because I've only mowed my yard once. This particular yard's only been mowed once with that Ferris, so I'm not biased to Ferris. I knew that going in, my yard was very rough. As if you're a commercial mower, you're probably going to have yards that are like this. So that suspension ride it's a game changer. It's a difference between being completely wore out at the end of your shift or having a little left in the tank and eating, because this just mowing back and forth here has beat me pretty hard. And granted, I'm not as tough as some of these young bucks out here mowing, but just my opinion. Like that right there. That was very light inputs, and the front end bounced off the ground twice. The inputs are very sensitive for somebody new. After a few hours, you just get used to it. Forgot to do my safety thing. Yeah, the suspension is, listen, there's no doubt this is a heck of a mower, but when I come up that hill on the other side, it's not even a really bad hill, but the front wheels came off the ground several times, and the fact that when I hit coming up the hill, it made me push the levers forward, which made it even worse. So I'm gonna go do that same hill with the Ferris. I'm gonna do the big Ferris, and we'll go from there. You want to try to go out there on that end? All right, we're going to be out here. We're going to bump our throttle up halfway. Drop our mower deck. Engage our clutch. Full throttle. I like the feel of the Ferris's controls better. They're not as touchy. Yeah, that would have killed me on the Exmark. And the front wheels came off the ground doing that exact. I couldn't go that fast with the Exmark. night and day difference. I'd buy this one all day long before I bought the non-suspension. Right here. Got a little air. Still way better. Yeah, that I just drove over that exact same place with the Ferris. Yeah, I just can't go up it like that. So one thing I've seen here is where the Exmark mowed and where the Ferris mowed. If you were on a perfectly smooth yard, you wouldn't know the difference. However, wherever I hit these giant bumps, the Exmark missed spots. I mean, literally the deck jumped up and down. It was such a harsh hit. There's no way you can mow with that mower on real yards at wide open speeds. It's just not going to happen. And going through up and down loops, it's definitely better. The suspension is a game changer. Out of all these mowers right here, I really like the one I got here in the 3300. The suspension on the 3300 is even better than what I have. This one, the seat is not a commercial seat. It's a nice seat, be fine for an hour a day, but it's not a commercial seat. You definitely would need the back support of the bigger seat. So if you're going to buy the 700 for light commercial use, definitely upgrade the seat. So let's give you a shot of this. This is rough. We took a stump out up here, and that's why we're bouncing so much. Seat belt on. Miles an hour. That suspension on this makes a big difference. That was not a good test though. I forgot to lower my deck. Try it again. I do like the Ferris' input controls better. right, here's my final thoughts. This is a real world yard, and you don't see these on all the brochures and stuff when they talk about each one of these mowers are rated at like 5 acres or a little over 5 acres an hour. That's in perfect conditions on a football field. Perfectly smooth, no bumps whatsoever, 5 acres, straight out, flat open. That's not the real world, and if you're a commercial mower guy, you know that that's not the real world. Wow. I'm gonna say that between these two mowers, the IS700 and the Lazer Z by Exmark, the Ferris versus the Lazer, this one's not even in the same price point, but it mows, in my opinion, it mows better. And the reason being is in the real world, you're going over big bumps, and every time that I went over a big bump, the mower deck bounced along. It just, you couldn't stop it from happening. The suspension is a night and day difference. However, having said that, if I had to buy my mower again, I would have went to the IS 800. I think it's the ISX 800. It's a commercial. It's the same series as this, except it's the 800 series. Very similar to this, a little bit bigger tires, a little bit more suspension, and the fact is it's basically the same width as this one, but it has the dual front suspension like the big IS 3300. If you're gonna mow every day for a living in the summer, this is the mower, in my opinion, to get. The price point of this big mower with dual tanks, 36 horsepower, the suspension ride was just unreal, and the big tires in the back, you don't spin, you don't rip grass out as much. That was a noticeable thing. Going up and down the hills, I just felt like I was more control. I had a few angles that I mowed on. This mower is by far not in the same class as this mower, even though this mower is priced it's actually priced a little bit more than this mower. So Ferris is, I own a Ferris, so full disclosure, I own a Ferris, but I've mowed my yard one time with it, so I'm not biased in any way. Just not. My dealer asked me to test these mowers and give true thoughts, and I don't know if he's going to be happy with the results of what I said. He sells a lot of Exmarks, but the Ferris, there's a reason they got a racing team, I'll say that. Listen, we're going to keep these mowers for a couple more days. If you got another test you want us to do, or you got some questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'll try my best to do a fair test. I think this is as fair as it can be. You can't fake a rough yard. Listen, God bless. Have a great day. Hang on, ready to go. Okay. Ferris is really similar in the fact that it's fairly easy to, oh wait, I got my pen in there. That 300 is something, right? 3300. That is unreal. Year built, but still, at some point, enough is enough. And if you run into a steel wall, it's gonna tear it up. If you run into a concrete wall. All right, one more time.